Hi, everyone. Welcome to Lumio Palooza 2026. I hope that you're having a really great time so far, that you're enjoying all of the amazing sessions that you have been attending. I'm Shay Hill, and I'm an education consultant from Smart Technologies, and I represent all of Canada. This is my third Lumio Palooza, so I'm really excited to be back and to be part of yet another amazing professional development session. So, let us know where you're joining from in the chat. Feel free to tell us about a session that you're looking forward to, maybe something you've enjoyed so far. Maybe there's something that's really resonated with you in one of the other sessions you've attended. Please feel free to mention that in the chat. We'd really, really love to hear about where you're coming in from and what you're loving so far. All right. Wow. Okay. So we have Devin from Manitoba. Nice to see you again, Devin. And we have someone from Botswana. And it looks like Minnesota. Amazing. Okay, so we got people from so many different places across the world. We're so excited to welcome educators from around the world to this event. It's really, really exciting. I'm so excited to share our presenter. Oh, Milan. Okay, wonderful. I'm excited to share our presenter with you. But first, I just want to make sure that you folks know about the hashtags for today. So our hashtags are hashtag #GoLumio, hashtag LumioPalooza 2026, and a hashtag Lumio Ambassadors. And I'm just going to throw those in the chat for you. And keep an eye on the chat as we go through, because you are going to be receiving links throughout the session, including the survey link for your certificate at the end, okay? I want to make sure that you know to subscribe to the Smart Technologies and Lumio YouTube channels as well, and all of our social medias. I'd also love for you to connect with me. My social media is at Inside Smart with Shay on Instagram. You can see that's my username just at the top there. So feel free to join me on there. I like to share lots of tips and tricks. And please feel free to ask any questions throughout this session. We're going to make sure that we answer those for you throughout. Me and Sarah are really excited to tackle those together. All right. And just as a reminder, this session is being recorded. You're going to receive all recordings via email early next week. And as a last reminder, we'd love to engage with you through socials this year. So we have a social posting challenge that's open to all the attendees. So if you want to take a screenshot or a post of something that you really love, you can share it by tagging Lumio _social and hashtag LumioPalooza, and you have a chance to win a $25 USD gift card of your choice. So you can just, share your insights. You can do that wherever you'd like. And I put those social posting challenge information in the chat. So what you have to tag. And winners are going to be announced live during the keynote session at 7 p.m. each day. All right, now for our presenter. Welcome in Sarah Thompson. So Sarah is an IT program integration consultant at Treaty 6 Education Council in Saskatchewan. She is an amazing Indigenous educator for Indigenous students in education. And how are you doing today, Sarah?
I'm well, thank you. And you?
I'm doing really well. I would love to know what you're excited for about Lumio Palooza this year.
I'm excited to take part in all the different sessions that are being offered for the rest of today and tomorrow, and just being able to collaborate and see the comments coming through from the other participants and to learn from the other presenters.
Definitely. I completely agree. There's always so many great minds in these rooms. I'd love to just quickly ask you, what inspired this session idea and what you're going to present on?
So I'm going to be presenting on Indigenous language learning through my work. I've had the opportunity to work with many different nations, and I was just excited to show how Lumio can support language learning.
Amazing. That's great. Okay, well, I'm going to turn it over to you to present, and I'll be backstage. So without further ado, let's get started. Everyone, remember, feel free to pop those questions in the chat as we go, and we're going to help answer those throughout the presentation, okay?
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Shay. So before I begin, I would like to acknowledge that I am joining you today from Treaty 6 territory in what is now known as Saskatchewan, Canada. So Treaty 6 is one of the historic agreements between First Nations and the British monarchy, and this land is the homeland of the Métis and the traditional territory of many First Nations, including the Cree, Saulteaux, Dene, Dakota, Lakota, and Nakota peoples. As I share ideas about Indigenous language learning today, I recognize that language, land, culture, and identity are deeply connected. I am a non-Indigenous educator. The lesson ideas and games featured in this presentation have been co-created over many years with the Cree teachers I have the privilege of working with. I share these activities with their support, guidance, and permission, and I hope that you will find ideas that can be adapted to support the teaching and learning of any language. Tanse, hello, bonjour. Welcome, everyone. So my name is Sarah Thompson, and since I'm talking about language learning today, it seemed fitting to begin by greeting you in 3 of the languages that are part of my own context here in Saskatchewan. Well, a little bit about me. I moved here to Saskatchewan from Southwestern Ontario in 2009. I was an elementary classroom teacher and math catalyst at Chief Poundmaker School for 7 years, which is where my Cree language journey began. And then in 2016, I was invited to take on a new role as an IT program integration consultant with Treaty 6 Education Council, which is where my Lumio journey began. Our team provides second-level education services to 14 First Nation communities throughout Treaty 6 territory. So my role has evolved over time, focusing on what schools need at present. Overall, I work alongside teachers and school leaders to identify barriers to technology, provide coaching and professional learning opportunities, and help build confidence in using digital tools effectively. An important part of my role is the work I do with Cree language teachers. We've created engaging games and learning activities to support language acquisition. I've also presented at and participated in Cree language and land-based learning conferences to not only add to my learning, but to support teachers in their efforts to strengthen their school's instructional practices. At the heart of my work is the goal of making technology meaningful, accessible, and supportive of student success while respecting and honoring the unique priorities, strengths, and goals of each school and community. So with that context in mind, our focus today is to explore how Lumio supports engaging and culturally responsive Indigenous language learning. When I talk about culturally responsive teaching, we're talking about learning experiences that connect to students' lives, honor Indigenous knowledge and ways of knowing, and create space for community voices, stories, and relationships. The technology is the tool, but the learning is the purpose. So I'd like to share some examples of what this can look like in practice. I'm going to start with a vocabulary word search, which is a game-based activity. And if you're able to join in, feel free to check out this activity. So the purpose behind it is to provide students with repeated exposure to new vocabulary in a way that is accessible and engaging in a digital environment. So I've used this activity, and the teachers that I've worked with have used this activity as a before or like a before class activity or an after class activity. It's just fun to throw up on the smartboard. In this example, it's all the numbers 1 to 10. And on the right-hand side, you have your word bank. And then you can set the level of difficulty within the setup for the game. So it's really easy to set up, and I have enjoyed using this as part of that game activity. Oh, and I'm seeing people start now. I'm actually going to flip past this one just because I don't want people to be upset that they're not going to be able to complete the word search in the time that we have. Definitely a completionist, and so I prefer to be able to go through the whole thing. So the next few slides have a common theme when it comes to vocabulary practice. Students are hearing, seeing, and interacting with the language repeatedly. So in this one, it was a flashcard type game where the Cree word is on the front of the card and a picture of the animal with the English word is behind it. So each card has audio attached so that students can hear the word as well. It brings together many of the features that Lumio has, where you can lock and move items, the layering, grouping, and the ability to add audio. So as I move each of the items down and around, you can see what's behind the cards. And when you click on the cards,
Minos.
you can hear the words being said out loud,
Sisip.
which then is able to reinforce how the words are said. So this activity supports vocabulary learning by allowing students to connect with written words, images, and audio. While these examples are all in Cree language, this same structure, though, can support vocabulary learning in any language. So in this example, I did have a little bit of a challenge. So on the next slide, I'm just going to move to slide 10 really quickly here. So there is a YouTube video, and it is Brian McDonald who's singing the number song in Cree. And so what we did was we had this open in a separate tab on the computer, and then we would play it while the students were on this page. They would go up to the smartboard or interactive TV, and as they moved the flowers from the left to the right of the screen, they would do it along with the song. For example, I can just sing it. Peyak, niso, nesto, newo, nianan, niktwasik, ekwate pakob. Aina neoke kaptatat, mina metatat, ekuta isko netakichikan. So it's just kind of a small little activity, but I really find it engaging for our kindergarten to grade 2 students. And it's no wonder that music and language are so linked together at times. We sing nursery rhymes, we sing animal songs, we sing number songs, because that language and music really tie together well. And so having that song and teaching, and then having the students move something as a manipulative, you can take it from the digital world, and then you can also replicate that with in front of you manipulatives. So in this example, this was an unscrambling the syllables. So just like we would in the English language, the Cree languages can also be broken down into syllables, which are represented by syllabics. And in this activity, the student would move the square to see the picture, to know what word it is that they need to unscramble. So let's say our vocabulary, we've been learning about birds. And so bird is biasis. So they would try to figure out, you can click on each of the audios to listen to how the is pronounced. Sorry, I'll do that again. Right? And then they would drag it down to the correct location and then drag the next one down. And so after they've heard each of the syllables, they can check that out. And then there's a pull tab on the far right-hand side that I preset with grouping, and you can pull that out to see if you are correct. And oh, I didn't use the right syllable. So the students can take that one back and put the correct one in. And then they can go through each of the audio to hear each of the syllables said out loud. And then as an added bonus for some of the older students, we do have syllabics as well. So if you move that box out of the way, each of these can come down the syllabics to match the syllables. And so if the students were able to do that without the answer tab pulled out, then it could be really engaging, and it can be a formative assessment. And you can have multiple pages set up with this kind of an activity. So you'll notice a theme throughout some of these examples, which is layering. So for language learners, especially when learning a new language, having multiple entry points is important. Students can see the word, hear the pronunciation, and connect it to an image and interact with it. So in this one and the next activity, I use the matching background color to the ink color. So on the left-hand sidebar where you can change the colors. So in this one, this activity, we'd post up, and it's what is the weather outside? So thankfully today we have a clear day in central Saskatchewan. So I would take my eraser tool, and I can erase this part right here to reveal what it is to have a hot day. And we could erase all of the parts to see what each of them are. Thankfully, it's not raining today. But on the smartboard, we could have each of the words and each of the vocabulary words there posted. And again, we can have audio attached. And we can even set it up so that the student's voice can be recorded so that their voices are recorded on the words. This one's also another favorite of mine. I learned about this one a number of years ago. And again, it's utilizing the background image, or sorry, the background color is going to be the same as the text color. So when it goes through the transform barrier, like with bison, it moves from the left side to the right side. So see how it's in red. When the red goes onto the red, it disappears. But the green that was on the green now shows up. So we can see that bison is pascuambostus. And when rabbit moves into the area, we've got wapos and nispatim, got sigak. Oh, could see that there for a second. And Musqua. So yeah, I use that. I had that little bit of white at the bottom just so you can see that when I bring it down into here, you can see both of the words are sitting there. And then you could actually have all of the animals start on the right-hand side instead, and then move them onto the left. So then that way you're checking for understanding of the Cree word into the English word. Which I also, it's a really cool trick that I liked learning about a number of years ago. And I wanted to share that with you. And again, language and, the recordings can be attached to any of these. So this next activity is kind of like a bulletin board activity. So when our teachers teach the language, a lot of the times they'll post the pictures of the items that they're teaching, and then they teach the picture, and then they teach the word, and then they put up the next bulletin, and then the next, and then the next, and then the next. So then as the students learn the words, they can just start reviewing them every single day. Sometimes there's actions involved. And so we decided to create a digitized version of this as well that can be adjusted as the students learn the words. So this one, again, is a layering activity, but a grouping as well. So then as each of the cards is moved over, we can say the word out loud. They could hear it if the audio is attached, but then they can move through these as quickly as possible. We could set a timer to see if they can get through the words within a minute. And then the neat thing is on Lumio is that as they've learned the words and the English, we can eventually crop out of each of the photos. So that way it looks just like the bulletin board, which is just the photo and no longer any of the words underneath it. So I thought that was a really neat example as well, just to utilize the program. So in this example here, this is the Unit 1 vocabulary. It's in a manipulative called Making Words. I'm going to open up the teacher handout. Feel free to click on the start so that you can play around with it yourself. And this one is edited. So at the bottom of the screen, when you first open up the manipulatives and the Making Words page, you get the English alphabet at the bottom. So instead, what I did was I unlocked each of the letters and I edited them to be the Cree language letters of the alphabet. And then now we have all the vowels and the vowels with macrons. And I also changed the font to Poppins. I really like the Poppins font in Lumio because it shows the A's in the way that we would teach younger students how to print the letter A. So I changed all that. And then with this one, it's kind of like magnet tiles that we can use on a magnetized surface, kind of like a refrigerator. And you would take the letter from the bottom and you would move it into the blank space of the word. And so each of the recorded audio is there.
Dance.
So the students would listen to the audio recording first and then try to figure out what letters would go into the blanks.
Pitagüe.
So you can move this one here. We could have the definitions here. We could have that hidden. And then you can check your work by sliding this rectangle out to the right. And then as you go through each of them, you can check to see how your work is. And again, as a center activity, this is a really great one. One of our teachers used this, and then they set up a few pages of Unit 1 vocabulary, Unit 2 vocabulary, and then the students worked either independently or with a partner, and they completed each of the pages. They also, because it's in Lumio, it was really great to be able to share with students that are home sick or just home for other reasons. And not only can they use this for their own learning, but it's also really great for them to work on it with family, with friends, and it just reinforces the language learning. So I really liked this activity. With this activity, this is the fill in the blanks activity. And again, you can set up sentences or a paragraph, and then you can decide which blanks can be or what are going to be at the word bank at the bottom. And I've set it so that even if you don't know what the words are, it will let you know if it's correct or incorrect right away when you move it into the blank. And so if it's correct, it'll give you the check mark and it stays put. And if you move a blank if you move a word into the blank and it's in the wrong spot, it bounces back and it doesn't let it stay there. So this is something though that all of the students learn. It does vary school by school and dialect. But for the most part, for the school that I worked at with this one, they reviewed this every morning so that the students knew it off by heart, and they say it every morning before they begin their day. This one is a lot of fun as well. With this activity, this was actually made a few years ago. So this was one of the ways in which we created this activity in Notebook and then uploaded it into Lumio. And this would be a file all on its own. And each of the number categories are connected to a page within the file. So how the game would work is the teacher would then use this as a template and they could change up the categories. And so team one, we would split the class in half, and team one would move the smiley face down to the category and number that they are choosing. So let's say clothing for 500. Then when you click on the 500, it jumps you to the question. So the question would be, what is socks? How would you say socks in Cree? So the students would have to say it. And then when they click on the answer, it would show. And again, the audio is recorded. So the students can then repeat after the teacher, and then it goes back to the main page. And then team two would be able to choose theirs. So let's just say the body for 400. And then they can listen to. So the Cree teacher is asking, can you show me your fingers? So right away, the students are going to all be up in front of them, and then they can check to see their answer is correct. And then the main page takes them back to the main page. And then they continue on earning points. So with this one, this activity, you can use it as a unit review. The audio can be added, which is fantastic. And the activities aren't just about engagement, but it also helps teachers understand student learning and growth, because if they get stuck on a question or an answer, then it's a note to the teacher that it's something that they may need to reteach. So I'm just going to move through those files because they're going to be on my side here. And then I just have a couple of examples here to show how practicing language in a low-risk environment can also give teachers opportunities to check understanding. So in this super sort activity, this one is a bunch of numbers, and they are even and odd. So moving the files into one or the other is going to make them either disappear or it'll bounce them back. In rank order, I'm just going to model these activities just because we're I wanted to show these ones. So in ranking, this one here, you can actually set to be either smallest number to largest number, or it can be alphabetical order, or it could be months of the year, whatever it is that you want to be able to put into a linear order, you can set this up. And then again, you can use this with multiple age levels, having the students either do it independently, they can do it on devices, they can go up to the board. It's really versatile in the ways in which you can use it. And based on the number song that we had learned earlier, they'd be able to utilize the pre-teaching and then be able to fill in the ranking. So it's another neat activity. I really like this one. And match them up. So I'm going to model this one as well. So in this one here, you have items on the left and then items on the right. So in this one, I decided to do, it was words with the pictures. So again, the pictures are things that they've seen over and over again in the classroom. So if they move the word onto the shield, they would pick the matching picture, which is cat. And when they are correct, then they move up into the middle. And if they are incorrect, then the knight gets burned. So it's a lot of fun. And with all of these activities, these game activities, you can add in things like the buzzers, which allows there to be a little bit of competition with the students. We've used the timer to see if they could complete the entire activity in a set amount of time. And then there's also the randomizer. So that way, all of the students' names are put into a hat and then they get drawn out, and then that's their turn to go up to the board so that they can take a turn at it. But again, it can be used as a center activity, and it's a really fun interactive thing, again, showing the words in the pictures and allowing that language learning to be engaging. Flip out is also one of my favorites. So with this one here, again, it's a really great flashcard activity. So in this one, we've put all the pictures on the outside, and then all of the vocabulary is on the other side. So as the students see one that they know, they can raise their hand and they'll say the words, so see-seep, or they can go up to the board and click which one is see-seep. And so it's duck. And they can see that it's correct, and then it moves into the discard pile. And then another student is like, oh, I know wapos. So they come up to the board, they click on rabbit, they can see that they're correct, it moves into the discard pile. And then when you want to deal out the cards, you click the deal and it automatically fills in the blanks. And so it's another really great activity. Again, can be done independently, as a class, as a small group activity. And then a variation of it is to have some of the words showing on the outside or some of the pictures. So then that way the students have that cue to be able to figure out what the other side is. So this picture being the moya, and pimote, well, they can show that that means walking, or nagi, which is stop. And then as they get them, they can move these around on the page and just create their own discard pile. And you can have, I think it's up to 20 words on, or 20 cards on this activity. So it can vary. Again, with younger kids, I wouldn't put so many up on the board. But when you're dealing with middle school to high school, then you could put definitely the maximum on there, because you're wanting that language to be, enough language examples to be there for them to work through. With this activity, so this is the bulletin board outside in the hallway of one of the classrooms. And in this one, they put up, it's like a mural, and then they took the Cree words and put them beside each of the items on the board. So what we did is we digitized it. And what it is, it's kind of an example. It's called PWIM, the picture word induction model. And it elicits children's listening and speaking vocabulary. So you post the picture up on the board, and then the students come up with all the words that they want to explain the photos. And then they can use their pen tool to draw a line to each of the items. And then again, having the Cree words on here as well, they're able to add that audio. You could have elders provide the language, or the students can record their voices. And then this then is the precursor to story writing. It can help with sentence writing, paragraph writing, and it can give a lot of that brainstorming ahead of time. With label reveal, same sort of thing. Again, it's a really great activity. You can add in the Cree and the English or any other language, and then adding additional information as to what those materials were used for. This one's actually a new one for me. I haven't used this with a class yet, but this is made with the Graphic Organizer's social media templates. And I thought this technology would be able to create an opportunity for students to interact with the language in a way that feels familiar and meaningful. So they have Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok social media pages. And then the students could take on a persona and fill in their page as if it was for that person. So for this one, I did Chief Palmaker because I worked with Chief Palmaker School for a number of years, so Pithaquanapuan. And this would be where the students could go in and actually add in that vocabulary that they've been learning as part of their session. And then another really great tool that I've loved with Lumio is the book creator content. So this one, because you can embed this content directly into Lumio, it works out really well when you're wanting to be able to share things with your students. This one here was created by one of our elders, Chief Sylvia Weenie. And so this is a book that she showed teachers how they can make this with their students. And then it adds to a library. So the book creator allows you to have this read to me. And when you click it,
Pagwatse, this is Skuak. Wild animals. Maswa, bear. Niwapamau, maswa. I see a bear.
So she gave both the Cree and the English. And with this example, the goal is never the technology itself. It's creating those opportunities for students to engage with the language, right? In this next example, we also have a teacher, one of our Cree teachers utilized this with their class and encouraged them to read aloud the book.
Nia oma asawasis. Nia napesis. Nia astuisis.
Right? So this goal is creating that opportunity for students to engage with the language. It allows for you to record community knowledge, student voice, storytelling, authentic language use. And for me, this is where the technology becomes really powerful because it's not just about consuming the language resources, it's also allowing knowledge holders, teachers, and students to create and share those language resources, which I find is absolutely amazing. So all in all here, these are some of the examples of what we've done in the classrooms. I'd like for you to participate in this one if you'd like, to creating a 6-word summary. This is one of the graphic organizers again. So using 6 words, can you complete the prompt? Meaningful language learning requires what? And you can do that using the text tool from the left-hand sidebar, and then you can click on each square and type something out, or use your pen tool and you can draw something, and depending on what device you're on. And so I hope those are some examples of and that if somebody can take something away from this that they can use within their own language learning.
That was so great, Sarah. Sorry, I was just participating in the 6-word summary. I love that so much. Thanks so much for sharing that. I'm so wowed. So many amazing ideas. I just wanted to, I'm not seeing any pressing questions in the chat. So I just wanted to call out a couple things that I loved. I thought it was really cool at the beginning when you were showing us the flower counting song, how you were reinforcing that numerical learning, language learning, but also cultural learning through song. You were really balancing the importance of oral language and song and tradition and community-based learning with provincial curriculum, which I thought was so amazing. In the chat, some people are saying that they had so many useful ideas that they got from that they're going to apply to their different First Nation settings. So that's amazing. And then the other thing, I thought it was really cool with Jeopardy, how you gave it an opportunity for, collaborating in teams to help preserve that language, which was really cool. I had a question for you. I was just wondering, in real time, have you seen kind of how you use those collaborative features in Lumio to encourage students to practice and preserve that Indigenous language together as a group? If you wanted to share anything with that, anything you've
Yes.
noticed or seen.
Well, the book creator has really taken off within our council, being able to write stories. Like when the kids go and do a land-based activity, they will go out and do a fishing or a hunting expedition. And then the students come back and they start writing, and they're writing everything in their books. And then they're able to digitize that story. And then using Lumio, they're now able to share that story with their family and friends. And it's just a really great opportunity because they've taken ownership of that learning, and then it has a really cool way to present it. And then I've even seen classrooms take those books and then share them with younger grades, which is also really fantastic.
Oh, that's fantastic. I have goosebumps. That really is so special. We're looking at so many, diverse ways of knowing and bringing all that together to really focus in on that Indigenous and First Nations, specifically for yourself, Cree culture, and sharing it with everyone that they meet. That's amazing. Thank you so much. Any final takeaways or advice for attendees, or are we good to go?
Yeah, I just hope that they were able to take something away from today. And,
sure
if this is your first time using Lumio, just try only one thing first. Don't try to do it all at once because it will be so overwhelming.
That's really, really good advice. And you can tell from your presentation that you have had a lot of time to really, with all the advanced locking and all that stuff, you've had a lot of time. So that's great advice. I wanted to say a huge thank you to Sarah, as well as to all of our participants for joining us. The survey link is in the chat. Thank you so much, Sarah, for leading the session. We had such a good time. Everybody stay tuned because we have so many more amazing sessions for you for the rest of today and tomorrow. If you haven't registered for those sessions, you can definitely do so. I will put that link in the chat for you. And yeah, have an amazing time. Candace is asking when this video will be available. It will be emailed directly to you, Candace. I don't have a specific timeline. Now I'm blanking a little bit. I think within about a week. And if Ingrid, who is helping us out, can clarify that, a few days. Perfect. So 5 to 7 days, maybe we'll say that. Either way, we really appreciate you all joining us. Thank you so much. And we can't wait to hear about what you loved about this session in your survey.